"Stop her! Stop that slave girl!" The guard's voice echoed through the palace corridors as Yoyo ran with a pot of soup clutched to her chest, her bare feet slapping against the cold stone floor. Behind her, angry shouts filled the air. Ahead of her lay the prince's quarters and the most dangerous lie she had ever told. But she couldn't stop now. This story happened in a village called Ikire. In this land ruled a powerful king, King Jada. King Jada was feared among many villages because of his strength and victories at war. He had many wives, many servants, and many slaves. Among these slaves was a young girl named Yoyo. She was 20 years old now, but her story began when she was just 5 years old and a little princess running through the corridors of her father's palace, laughing and playing without a care in the world. King Jada's army had come like a thief in the night. They set fire to the palace walls and broke down the gates. Little Princess Yoyo was sleeping when her personal guard, Baba Kemi, burst into her room. "Princess, we must go now," he shouted, lifting her from her bed. "Where is Papa? Where is Mama?" she cried. But Baba Kemi was already running with her in his arms. He handed her to some villagers and promised to come back while he go rescue the royal family and other guards. But Baba Kemi never came back. Nobody ever did. The villagers, who were kind but scared, decided to hide Yoyo's identity. Little Princess Yoyo forgot who she really was because villagers had told her that her parents were simple farmers who had died in the war. She believed them because she was too young to remember clearly. Yoyo lived with the other war orphans and slaves until she was 8 years old. That was when she was brought to the palace to serve as a slave. Young Yoyo started by fetching coals and buying foodstuffs for the palace kitchen. When she turned 12, they moved her to work inside the kitchen. But there was one big problem. Yoyo had never cooked before. As a princess, servants had always prepared her food. Now, as a slave, she was expected to know everything. Her first day in the kitchen was a disaster. She burned the yam so badly that smoke filled the entire room. She put so much pepper in the stew that even the rats would not eat it. The head cook, Mama Sikirat, was a stern-looking woman, feared and dreaded by all the kitchen staff. Mama Sikirat had been captured years ago when King Jada conquered her village. She had been the royal cook there, and her skills in the kitchen had saved her from a worse fate. Now, she ruled the palace kitchen like her little kingdom. "You useless girl!" Mama Sikirat would shout every time Yoyo made a mistake. I would sometimes use a big wooden spoon on Yoyo's head. The other slaves would look at her with pity, but they were too afraid of Mama Sikirat to help. But there was one person who was different. It was Mama Sikirat's assistant, Aka. She was as loud and wicked as Mama Sikirat, shouting at the other slaves and making them work harder and harder. But for some reason that Yoyo could never understand, Aka was kind to her. Every night, after all the work was done, Aka would take Yoyo to a quiet corner and teach her. Slowly, Yoyo began to improve. She stopped burning the yam, though it was sometimes undone. Mama Sikira shouted at her less, though she still found reasons to complain. Yoyo was carrying a heavy basket of coals on her head one day. The sun was setting and she was hurrying to get back before dark. Then she slipped and down she went, coals flying everywhere, landing hard on the ground right at someone's feet. When Yoyo looked up, her heart stopped beating. Standing above her was the most handsome young man she had ever seen. He was tall and strong, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He wore fine clothes that marked him as royalty. "Are you hot?" he asked, reaching out his hand to help her up. Yoyo could not speak. Then it finally hit her. This was Prince Elo, the king's son. In all her years in the palace, she had never seen any member of the royal family up close. Slaves were not allowed near them. She stammered, scrambling to gather the scattered coals. I'm sorry, my lord, she whispered, grabbing the basket and running away as fast as her legs could carry her. But she could not run away from the memory. Every night, as she lay on her mat in the slaves' quarters, she thought about Prince Elo's kind eyes and gentle voice. Though she knew it was almost impossible, she found herself looking for him whenever she walked through the palace's tall walls, hoping to catch just a glimpse of him. But now, Prince Elo was terribly sick and was dying. Every food he ate seemed poisonous. He was only fine when he ate nothing, but he was weaker that way. The royal doctors tried everything, but nothing worked. The queen cried so much that her eyes were always red and swollen. Even the whole kingdom was sad, because Prince Elo was loved by all. One evening, as the sun was setting like a big orange ball in the sky, Mama Sikirat was preparing the prince's dinner in the kitchen. She had made a special soup with the most expensive ingredients, as the king had warned that if the prince does not eat that night, they would all suffer. This soup must be perfect too, Mama Sikirat announced to everyone in the kitchen. If the prince does not eat tonight, we'll all face the king's anger. But as she stirred the big pot, something terrible happened. A huge spider fell from the roof right into the soup, and the soup was ruined. Mama Sikirat's scream could be heard in the next village. My soup! All the slaves stood there, frozen with fear. This was when Yoyo's heart began to beat faster. Here was her chance, maybe her only chance, to see Prince Elo again. Mama Sikirat, she said, stepping forward. Can I make a new soup for the prince? The entire kitchen went silent. Mama Sikirat stared at Yoyo like she had grown horns. How dare you make a mockery of my misery? Look at this child. Will you leave here before I feed you to the lions? But Yoyo's heart was not ready to give up. The image of Prince Elo's kind face filled her mind. What if this was the last chance to see him? She looked around to make sure no one was watching. Then she crept out of the palace towards the bush behind the slave quarters. There, hidden from view, was a small cooking area that the slaves sometimes used to prepare their own simple meals. Walking by moonlight, Yoyo started cooking.
To be continued.